Whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, a combination of both, it's all about family. Coming together and spending time with those you love. From Dabs to you, we'd like to wish you a happy holidays. But today, you're about to be thrilled with some incredible tellers. So sit back, relax, let that fireplace blaze bright, and enjoy the stories from Dabs.
And all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Now all the storytellers were in bed, tucked in real tight, sleeping and dreaming about the stories that they would tell the very next night. Now, there was Shawnee Womack, Mama Jatu Gray, and Impressively Mo. But this story happened last night, so let's just get on with the show. Hello, my name is Jazz, and I will be your host for this season's 4th Friday Story Hour. I'm so excited to be here, especially because it is my favorite time of year, the holiday season. It's a season of joy, giving back to the community, being around friends, family, and other loved ones. Now, when I grew up, my favorite part about the Christmas season was my aunt's Christmas Eve party that she hosted every year. It was a time where all of her family and friends could gather around and eat food and watch movies, listen to music, and just have a good time, just good energy. Now, my favorite part about the Christmas Eve party was the preparation for the Christmas Eve party. One year, I spent the entire week with my aunt to help her prep. I would put the cloves in the ham, put the pineapples, glaze the ham, put the cheese on top of the mac and cheese, even make the little trail mix bowls that she set out for everybody before the dinner was done. Now, my aunt moved to South Carolina a couple years ago when I was in middle school, and I'm in college now, so I've been searching for the perfect Christmas Eve dinner. Now, if you notice, we're recording in a different space than normal for our 4th Friday. And that's because this episode is sponsored by the restaurant Urban Soul. Now, I'm gonna go get a plate, and we'll be right back after this message.
Do you want some good soul food, but don't know who to try? Then stop by Urban Soul Food, run by Southern Fries. For down-home cooking, go to downtown Detroit. There you'll find Urban Soul Restaurant at 1535 East Lafayette Street. Now to dine in and or to carry out, call 313-344-9070. Once more, for all food order needs in or out the door, 313-344-9070.
Thank you to Urban Soul for sponsoring this episode of the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers 4th Friday Story Hour. Now, my plate is sitting over there, and we all know that hot food or cold food doesn't taste good. So I won't take too long introducing the next storyteller. Now, our first storyteller tonight is Mama Jatu Gray. She is for everything considering educating our youth on African American history. She's worked with the Charles H. Wright Museum of African History, Detroit Public School System, and even the Detroit Historical Museum. She is also a past president of the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers, so I know that we're in for a treat tonight. So without further ado, Mama Jatu.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm going to tell you a story about my most memorable Christmas. I was 5 years old. We lived in Chicago, Illinois, in a 4-family flat. And Christmas was coming, and I had to get prepared for that. Well, Mama had been cleaning the house with care. because she knew St. Nick would soon be there. She had cleaned the house. There was not any dust anywhere. And I helped her to get ready to prepare. Well, we brought out all the best china and the napkins that we only use for a holiday. I was so happy to be able to participate. But first, Dad went and brought out the big Christmas tree. You remember the silver ones? That's what we had, a silver tree. And it was so much fun decorating the tree and drinking eggnog and putting all the ornaments on the tree. Why, there was red and blue and green and silver and gold. It was just going to be beautiful, and I was just so excited. I just really couldn't contain myself. Well, Dad had made sure that he was going to take care of the turkey bird. That's right, he always did the turkey, and he would season it just right for him. And we loved it. Well, Mom's in the kitchen and she was taking out the cornbread because she was going to make some cornbread dressing, which was really going to be good. And I was still helping to decorate. But then Dad said, you gotta hurry up because St. Nick is gonna be here, Santa. So you wanna make sure you're in bed. Well, I still had to help Mama in the kitchen because she was making the cornbread dressing and the black-eyed peas and collard greens, and don't forget the sweet potatoes, the best candy yams I had ever tasted. And I was excited for that to happen. So then, after everything was all put together, and I had made the Kool-Aid and put in some orange slices and some lemon slices, and I put that in the refrigerator. Then I went and got the cookies and put them on the mantle. I had so much fun just decorating the cookies with the gingerbread men. Oh, that was just great. Well, I got ready for bed. I thought I wasn't sleepy, and I said, I'm going to just put on my favorite pajamas. The ones with the little footies, I love those. So I put those on, and I climbed into bed, and I fell asleep. Well, soon I heard the sound of footprints up on our four-family roof. Who would be up on the roof at this time of night? It had to be Santa. Santa and the reindeer. That's what it was. Yes, it was Santa and the reindeer. Well, then I heard this big thud, like something crashing down from the chimney into the fireplace. And I knew it had to be Santa. Well, I got under the cover and I covered my head, and I was thinking all of the presents that I was going to get while I was in bed. Well, you know, at some point I fell asleep and I dreamed of sugar plums dancing in my head. But then suddenly I looked up and I got out of bed and I went to the door and looked out the keyhole. And what did I see? A red pair of pants that had to belong to Santa. So then Santa was eating the cookies that I had made. And I heard him say, these cookies are good. And then he was gone. Well, I didn't want Mom and Dad to know I was peeping through the peephole in the door to look at Santa to see if he was bringing my presents. So, next thing I heard is they were taking off into the sky. And there was Dancer and Prancer and Donna and Blitzen and Cupid and up in the sky, and let's go. And so they went, and I saw them go up in the sky and all around as that sled pulled all of them around. And then Mom and Dad came out, and they came in my room, and I jumped up and I ran out in the living room, and there were presents everywhere. The bike that I wanted, the doll that I could walk with. She was as tall as I was. And I was so happy. And this was my favorite and most memorable Christmas at 5 years old. Now, in the neighborhood, there was a guy named J-Mo. And J-Mo liked to break in people's homes. No. Yeah. J-Mo broke in, and he's walking around the house. My neighbors. He's walking around, he's looking, and he sees the stereo. That's what he wants to get, a stereo. So he starts disconnecting it, and as he's disconnecting it, he hears a voice. Jesus is watching you. And he stopped, and he looked around, and he didn't hear anything else. He didn't see anybody. So he kept on disconnecting the stereo system. So again, he heard, Jesus is watching you. So he pulled his flashlight out, and he's looking around, and up in the corner, right in the ceiling, was a parrot. So now, J-Mo has got a little bit nerve now. So he looks and he says, was that you that just said that? Yeah? Well, what's your name? My name is Moses. Moses? What kind of people would name a parrot Moses? The same kind of people that name that Rottweiler Jesus. So, if you're thinking about breaking into my house on the holidays, as you're standing outside, get right with Jesus. Tell him you're coming home, because my 3 Rottweilers are going to do a job on you. Thank you.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing just peachy. Alright, so the audience wants to know, for any aspiring DABS members out there, if you have one piece of advice to give to an aspiring storyteller looking to join DABS, what would be that one piece of advice?
Study hard. When you write your story, make sure that you follow it. You've got to take the time to learn the story. Give yourself at least 2 weeks to learn the story. And I would say, practice in front of a mirror, because that way you'll see all of your reactions.
Yes, thank you for your wise words. Now, I have another question. Like I said, holiday season is my favorite season, so I have to ask, what is your favorite part of the holiday season?
I love cooking and baking cakes and pies and cookies and all different types of stuff. I put my little apron on. I love to wear apron, and it's all frizzy. So yes, putting on my apron and baking all the food.
So tell the audience how they can get in contact with you or how they can follow you more. Would you like to share?
Well, yes, I'm on Facebook, Mama Jatu, the storyteller. Or if you want to learn about history, you can come down to Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, and I will take you on a journey to the 15th century to find out exactly what happened to our people in history.
Well, thank you for telling your stories and sharing with us today. Now, she gave her advice for aspiring DABS members. If you're still interested, we'll be right back after this message with how to join DABS.
Stories, stories, stories. What are stories?
Stories are simply something that happens every day.
Stories could have come from the past.
Stories could be happening right now.
Stories can be past, present, and future.
Stories can be happy.
Stories could be sad. Stories, stories, stories. Just what are stories?
Stories are simply something that happens.
Stories can be good.
Stories can be bad too.
Stories could be happy.
Stories, stories, stories. Just what are stories?
Stories could be happening right now.
Stories can be past, present, and future.
Stories can be true, like all of my stories.
Or stories could be made up.
Stories are something that simply happens.
Stories could be happening right now.
But the most important thing about stories,
Stories must be told.
Hello, we are the Detroit Association of Black Storytellers, also known as DABS. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We offer many services, including storytelling, workshops, group facilitation. We host events. We perform at churches, schools, senior centers, and senior living facilities, birthday parties, family reunions, and even business conferences. We tell stories for all ages. Whether your event is large or small, we can accommodate it all. Contact us today to discuss how we can help make your event memorable. Call us at 313-442-3227 or visit our website, DetroitStorytellers.com. If you'd like to see us in action, check out our YouTube channel, Detroit Association of Black Storytellers. And remember, just a little dabs will make your event spectacular.
but the most important thing about stories,
Stories must be told.
If you're still interested in joining DABS, you can check us out at www.detroitstorytellers.com. Now, DABS has many a talented member. The next one I'm bringing out is multi-talented. A singer, actress, a dancer, a spoken word artist, and a clothing designer. She was just featured in a movie earlier this year called Mind of Distortion and has her own clothing line for small black girls. So, I will let her impress you because this is Impressively Mo.
Thank you, that was nice. I was like, what's she talking about? Okay, so hello everybody, and this is my first time doing storytelling, so I'm just going to add that I'm also a storyteller now, provided how this turns out. When I was told that I would be doing storytelling for DABS, I've been doing spoken word and that comes easy, but when they said story, it made me think of like, what can I talk about? My grandmother's birthday is coming up, so me and her kind of had a conversation, so to speak, spiritually, and so I'll do her story for the day. So my name is Monique, they call me Mo, and I was raised kind of like an old soul. So I remember being a child but never thinking like a kid. So I had a propensity to have like conversations and relationships as a kid with adults because they would find themselves having conversations with a little kid. My closest relationship with an adult besides my mom was always my grandmother, her mother. And so I just had old people habits as a little kid. Like she introduced me to Maxwell House coffee at 3. And we had got away with it for years, like 2 years. And one day my mama walked in and she caught me at the kitchen table watching TV with a little black and white TV she would keep right there on the table. She would get a cinnamon roll and have her coffee. She was tired of me dipping my little spoon in her coffee, so she just made me my own little cup to leave her alone. And my mother walked in and caught me sitting back with my grandmother with the cinnamon rolls, coffee. I'm 5 years old watching Donahue. And she was like, what are you drinking? Like she looked over in the cup and she thought it was tea. And I was like, oh, I'm just drinking coffee, me and grandma, you know, because to me it was normal. And so she got mad at her mom and she was like, don't come here and tell me what to do with my grandchild, like it wasn't her child, but that was our relationship. And so like I grew up with her like being the person that I would come to with all of my problems, and she would solve them with these sayings that as a child I didn't know what she meant. So like me and my best friend had an argument and I was sad, and I came in and I was crying and she asked me what's wrong. And I said, me and my best friend had an argument, and she said, well, maybe even tongue and teeth fall out. And I was just left there, like, I didn't know what to do with that, but she said it like it was some wisdom in it, so I guess it was to later on I would find out where that wisdom was. But even tongue and teeth do fall out. That's all I got from that one. So my grandmother also used to wrestle with me. When I was like 8 years old, I remember us wrestling at her room. She was like an older lady, but she wasn't weak. And I thought I was gonna take her, you know what I'm saying? But she had kind of like threw me across the bed. And when I landed, it must have made a lot of noise. My mama came running up the steps, and she came running in the room, and she was like, you know, what's going on with that noise? And I was like, oh, that's me and Grandma, we was just wrestling. She looked over, she was like, you're not supposed to be wrestling her, you know. And I was like, why is she winning? So I didn't feel like it was probably wrestling my grandmother as long as I couldn't beat my grandmother. I didn't care how old she was, so we wrestled for a little minute after that. She just was a special person, and I'm lucky to have had her like for so long in my life. She taught me so much, and she kind of left me with old lady sayings like, you know, that my friends sometimes don't know what I mean, but I have to explain it. I'll be like, girl, they making money hand over fist. They don't know what I mean when I say certain stuff. But I'm glad that she left me with that. I was lucky to have her until I was 40 years old, you know, and she just was very pivotal. My best friend, I would call her like 3, 4 in the morning, and she would just answer the phone, be like, hey girl. She knew I was gonna call every night or every morning to talk to her. And I had her mother until I was 20. So she got to, her mother, my great grandmother got to hold my son. And to have those generations of women, I didn't realize how lucky I was to have all that wisdom and all that strength and all that inspiration in my life for so long. She had 11 kids, and even though I watched her all my life do it by herself, it was like her sons, and these was like men. I grew up with men, big men. They ain't played with my grandma then. It was this little bitty lady, but she'd tell you off, y'all, and she'd cuss you out. But she would do it with love. So no matter what name she called us, and there was a few, I'm not going to repeat here because this is a family setting. And it would be bad. And everybody would be looking like, your grandmother talked to you like that. And we are cracking up laughing because we knew the love behind it. And so this is just a holiday story, but it's not, it didn't take place during a holiday, but it just go to show the kind of person she was. Like I said, I was an old kid, so when people that I respected said something to me, I took it as the truth. And so because I respected my grandmother at such a young age, she lied. You know how people lie to kids and tell them ridiculous fables. But since it was my grandmother, I believed that her friend had 6 puppies. Now let me tell y'all, I carried that story with me. Like, yes, this happened. And one day I said it to somebody, like my grandmother said she know a lady that had 6 puppies, and I said it with all this confidence, like this really happened. And somebody had to break down the biology of how that could never really happen. And so I was disappointed and I was angry at my grandmother, but I never said nothing to her about it. Now mind you, I was a little kid when I found the truth out. I didn't get to be an adult and find out that women couldn't have puppies. However, I carried that grudge secretly with me until I was an adult. So the story takes place in 1994. I am now probably about 20, and I got a 2-year-old, and we are going to Six Flags, and it is me, my grandmother, I got my son, it is my Aunt Joyce, her husband, her 2 kids, it is my Aunt Lisa, it is my cousin Demond, who is the pettiest member of my family, but also one of my best friends. His baby's mother, which was my best friend, and their child, so it's like the whole family is on this minivan together, and we going to Gurney, Illinois to go to Six Flags. And so my cousin Demond, because he is the pettiest member of the family, knew that I had this secret grudge against my beloved grandmother, and he takes the time to say, Grandma, why don't you tell us about the time when you went to the amusement park and got stuck on the Ferris wheel at the top, which was another lie she told us when we was a kid, and he knew that I was mad about the lie, but I never said nothing. So she goes into the yard, oh yeah, that sure did, and so he looked at me because he knew how I was. And out of nowhere, I just was like, Grandma, no you didn't. The whole bus got quiet. And my mother just like looked up because she was reading something, and she had a way of looking over her glasses at me that let me know that I was in trouble even though I was grown. So she was reading and she just looked up at me like, you better not say nothing else. But at this point, y'all, I am breaking generational curses. And so my child will not hear the same lies that I did. So I said, Grandma, no it didn't. And I stuck to it. 10 toes deep. No, that did not happen. Quit lying. Well, I didn't say lie because back in the day we was raised that you get popped if you use the word lie. So I'll be honest, I said quit telling the story. Even though I was grown, I ain't disrespected to that degree, but I was gonna stop the storytelling. The storytelling wasn't gonna go on. My grandmother cursed me out so bad, y'all. Called me every name in the book. I ain't gotta lie to you. All these, it was mad, and she had the audacity, the musty audacity to feel disrespected after she done lied to us generation after generation. So everybody looking at me like I'm wrong. My best friend is over there with tears running down her face because I have got my grandmother spitting mad, and everybody in there is mad at me. My cousin and his baby's mother is laughing at me because to them, I should have stopped talking a good 20 minutes ago. But I'm going back and forth. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Well, I don't care. Well, you just gonna have to be mad. Well, I just don't care. Well, Grandma, we gonna stop this. Well, Grandma, I don't believe you. Well, Grandma, to this day, y'all, she looking down at me somewhere saying, "Only shut up." And too bad, Grandma, because I still can't. Thank y'all for giving me some time. Okay.
We're so glad to have you be a part of the association now.
Thank you.
This is your second time. I know you said it's your first, but we done seen you before.
Yeah, but this is my first storytelling. I told it.
So like, since this is like you're still beginning in storytelling, what's your favorite part about storytelling so far?
My grandmother never left me, so I just get to share what other people share just with that. So that's about it.
Now for our holiday question. That's my favorite, so I gotta ask. What is the most memorable gift that somebody has ever given you?
I remember, I think I was like 12 or so, and our house got broken into right before Christmas. We walked in the house, all the gifts was gone on the tree, it was a big box. So I was hurt. And I didn't think, because it was just a few days before Christmas, I was gonna have any gifts. And I got gifts still, but my most memorable gift that was under the tree was a little pink dog that barked and stuff. And I love animals and pink and cute stuff, so I thought that was gonna be like the major gift. But I got a Michael Jackson doll, and I was over the moon about Michael Jackson, so that was my most memorable.
Of course, that should. It's Michael Jackson. thank you for sharing your stories. We're looking forward to seeing so much more from you. You would like to share if anybody wants to follow your story?
This, so thank you for that. Thanks for reminding me. Impressively Mo, the letter MPRESSIVELY. Impressively Mo. I'm that on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It's simple. Right.
Thank you so much for sharing. And then we'll be right back for an interview with our sponsor for this episode, Urban Soul.
Thanks.
So to make our episodes happen, we do have sponsors, and our sponsor for this episode is Urban Soul, and I'm sitting here with the manager of Urban Soul, and we are in Urban Soul. So, you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, I'm Shatara. I'm the manager here at Urban Soul. I'm one of them anyway.
What's your favorite part about working here, like being a part of this community?
Just meeting different people and sharing some of their stories, you know. You meet a lot of great people that come through here from out of town. They come all the way from just to have a date from Saginaw or Flint, Pontiac. They come from all over just to get the food. So that's nice.
How long have y'all been open?
So we've been open here for maybe 11 years now. I think this is our 11th year.
Y'all open when I was 10. Clearly the food is good. They've been here for forever. If you had one dish on the menu that you could like eat for the rest of your life, what would be that one dish?
Well, of course I could eat chicken every day, but probably the short rib. Delicious.
Do you want to like plug the restaurant, like where we're at downtown?
So we're located at 1535 East Lafayette. We're right off 75. And we are open from 11 to 8, Tuesday through Sunday. Well, actually Tuesday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we open at 12 to 8.
And then of course, because it's the holiday times, y'all have special holiday hours for anybody that's looking to come in?
Well, we're closed the holidays, but we're open every other day except for Mondays.
What I'm hearing is, the day after Christmas, I think Christmas is on a Sunday, so that Tuesday, we're
open.
We're gonna come back.
Yes.
Right. Thank you for sponsoring and sitting down with me.
Thank you for having us. We greatly appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
So we just sat down with one of the managers of Urban Soul, but now we got the real deal, the owner, the one who started this off. Am I correct?
Well, actually, it was my husband. I married into it.
All right.
So,
get a husband.
What is one thing that you think sets apart Urban Soul from other restaurants in the city?
Well, one, our pricing. We try to keep our pricing as low as possible. Because we want people to come in and have a good dining experience and not with all the expensive costs.
Good eats and not breaking the bank to eat good.
Exactly.
Alright, so I already asked your manager, so I asked you if you could eat one dish off the menu for the rest of your life. That's the only thing you could get from here. What would you get?
Short ribs, baby.
Short ribs. Y'all heard it here from the employees. I work in customer service and I can tell you, when you work in a place, you know what's good. The short ribs are
short ribs. All right.
So, is there anything else you would like to share with us today? About Urban Soul?
Well, Urban Soul, for me, I've been working down here behind the scenes probably about 6 months now. I've been married to the owner about a year, and we've been together about 10 years right now. If I can say anything, because he's been in existence for over 30 years.
Wow.
He started out as East Franklin, then went to Southern Fires, and now he's Urban Soul. And it's just really been a nice family-oriented establishment, and we're just so happy that everyone comes out and they patronize us. And our biggest thing that we like to pride ourselves on is giving amazing food to everyone that walks through the door, and customer service as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for letting us use your space today. We really appreciate y'all.
And I also want to add this on the side as well. I know there's another menu out there, it's called Southern Fires Bar and Grill. It is not affiliated with Urban Soul.
Okay.
The story behind it is, it originally was Southern Fires, but because we didn't capture the name within the 6-month period, they were able to take it. So that is how that came about. So Urban Soul is the original Southern Fires.
Urban Soul.
So we coming to Urban Soul, the OGs.
Old Urban Soul.
Urban Soul.
All right, y'all heard it here first.
These are the
Thank you.
real deal. Give me the
You are
hug.
welcome.
Thank you again to Urban Soul for sponsoring this episode of the Dab's 4th Friday Story Hour. Now, we're reaching the end of our program, but we do have one more teller for y'all. So let's sit tight, and I'll introduce our next teller, Shawnee Womack. Now, this is another multi-talented teller, a part of Dab's. She is from Flint, Michigan, born and raised in Flint, Michigan, and is a first-generation immigrant with her parents being from Jamaica. She is also a co-pastor of her own church. She tells many stories, specifically the Anansi stories, and just ready to bring her up. So.
Thank you. All right. Oh, I'm so happy to be here for this 4th Friday concert leading up to Christmas, well, after Christmas and leading up to the new year. I have so many great memories of the holiday season with my family. Anybody who knows me, you probably heard me talk about my mother and all of her family being from Jamaica. And so during the holidays, all of my Jamaican side of the family, we would have these amazing celebrations at my great aunt Sybil's house. And she had a piano in her front living room. And a few of her kids could play piano, so we gather around and we sing Christmas carols. And then there would always be stories. Now my grandmother, she was a storyteller. And she would share with me these amazing Anansi stories, which I didn't know the history of them. I thought she made them up. I only later, as an adult, found out that they were in books and that there was a rich history of Anansi stories coming from West Africa, from the country of Ghana in particular. And so these Anansi stories were always popular in my family and in my household. And so at Christmas time, we always have an Anansi story. So of course, I brought an Anansi story for you today. This one is called Anansi and Tiger, or as I renamed it, When Anansi Taught Tiger How to Pray. All right, so here we go. Anansi woke up one morning to a strange sound. He couldn't quite make it out. So as he laid in bed, he listened a little harder and he heard, he didn't know what that was. And he listened again and he heard, Anansi thought that was a strange sound, but it persisted. It would stop for a minute and then it would start right back up again. Anansi didn't know what that was. Where could this strange sound be coming from? So he hurried to his bathroom, he washed his face, he brushed his teeth, he threw on some clothes, and he stepped out onto his front porch, and he listened again. He didn't hear anything, but then, just as he was about to go back inside the house, he heard, He still wasn't quite sure who was making this strange sound. So he began to listen more closely and he started to follow this sound. Anansi moved closer towards the forest near his house. He actually made his way through the trees, following the sound. And then he started to hear it a little louder. He could make it out. It was a roar. He heard a roar. being hoarse. It sounded like maybe he was in trouble. And then Anansi heard it again, a little louder as he walked deeper into the forest. Anansi looked around. He couldn't see where the sound was coming from, but it was loud and clear now. And then he looked down. And there, before him in a pit, was Tiger. He had fallen into a trap, and he was roaring for help. Well, if you know anything about Anansi and Tiger, you see, they didn't always quite get along. So Anansi saw this as an opportunity to maybe play a trick on Tiger and take advantage of his situation. So Anansi peered over the edge of the pit, and he said, "Good morning, Tiger. How you doing down there?" Tiger said, "Anansi, you can see that I'm stuck." "No, not you, Tiger. No, you're so big and strong. I know you could not be stuck down there." Tiger said, "Anansi, don't you see that I am stuck? I need help." "You want help from little old me? No, what can I do? What can I do? I'm too small. I'm too insignificant. Oh, no. Tiger, I could never help you." "Anansi, go and get help." "Go and get help? Oh, no. I couldn't do that." Why not, Anansi? Help me." All right. I don't think I need to go and get help because you are so big and so strong and so powerful. All you need to do is lean to the far edge of the pit and take a run and a leap and claw your way out of the pit. You can do it, Tiger. You are strong. Tiger said, "Anansi, I tried." No. You haven't tried your hardest. I know you have not. Just try again. Lean back on the edge of the pit and run and leap and use your claws to climb out of the pit. So Tiger backed up. He leaned back and he lunged toward the opposite side of the pit and he began to claw his way up and out of the pit. Anansi was like, "You're doing it. Keep up the good work, Tiger. Keep up." And so Tiger continued to claw his way out, and he was near the top of this pit. And just then, he began to lose his strength. His arms began to tremble and shake, and he said, "Anansi, I don't think I can make it. Anansi." Anansi said, "Oh, sure you can, Tiger. You're strong." He said, I can't make it. I can't hold on any longer, Anansi." He said, Anansi looked down and said, "Oh, Tiger, all you have to do is pray." "Pray? I don't know how to pray, Anansi. How do I pray?" I said, "What do you mean? You don't know how to pray? You've never prayed before?" "No, Anansi, I need help. How can I pray?" Anansi said, "Well, all you have to do, Tiger, is put your hands together. Put your hands together and ask God to help you, to give you strength to get out of the pit." Tiger said, "Put my hands together? Yes, quick now before you grow too weak. It's time to pray now. Put my hands together. You're sure, Anansi?" Anansi said, yes, put your hands together and pray now, pray." So Tiger put his hands together and he said, "Oh, help me, God." And he slid down back to the bottom of the pit. Anansi looked down and said, "Tiger, you must think I'm a fool. Why would I help you? God helps those who help themselves. So keep trying. Good day." And he walked off. The end. Now, you have to know a little bit about Tiger and Anansi to really understand what was going on. You see, these stories, I told you Anansi stories come from Africa, from Ghana, and they were one of the only things that our people who were kidnapped could bring with them were their memories and their stories. And in particular, these stories of the kidnapped Africans gave them strength. They remembered their Anansi stories from Africa, and they remembered, although he was a little tiny creature, that somehow they could be like Anansi. They could use their wits to outsmart their captors. And you see, in those African stories, there was no tiger. There were lions and leopards in the African versions of these Anansi stories, but in Jamaica, they turned the lion and the leopard into a tiger. And they did that for a very important reason. You see, tigers are not native to Jamaica, right? You don't find tigers in Jamaica, and you don't find tigers natively in Ghana either. So they decided to change the lion and the leopard to a tiger to symbolize their colonizers. People who were not native to this place, who had no business in this land, but they had come in because of their might, mainly because of their guns, had come in and were able to now take these Africans from their home and force them to work on sugar plantations and on banana plantations. And so they told these Anansi stories, and often there is some contention going on between Anansi and the tiger. And so when they would tell these stories, it would encourage those kidnapped Africans who found themselves in a place where they sometimes felt powerless. It would encourage them to use their wits to outsmart those who were oppressing them. And so they continue to tell these stories, and there's always a battle going on between Anansi and Tiger, and usually Anansi gets the better of Tiger in the Jamaican versions of these Anansi stories. So that's the meaning behind that. Now I have one more story to share before I go. And as I studied these Anansi stories, I learned how the stories evolve, right? Stories change over time, and depending on the situation and the settings that people find themselves in. So those Anansi stories travel from Africa to Jamaica to America. In America, Anansi became Brer Rabbit, right? And so the stories evolved, and that's how it is with all folk tales. Another story that I remember hearing when I was growing up was Johnny Cake.
All right.
Anybody ever heard of Johnny Cake?
Yeah.
Johnny Cake stories come from England. And if you knew anything about the history of Jamaica, if you know anything about that, Jamaica was a British colony. It was a Spanish colony and a British colony, but the British were there last. And they would often teach the Jamaican children stories that came from England. So Johnny Cake was one of those stories that my mother knew. And then that story about Johnny Cake was transformed to the gingerbread man, right? When those stories perpetuated through time and came to America. So many of American children like my age, we heard the story, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me.
I'm the little gingerbread man.
I'm the gingerbread man. That's right. So the gingerbread man story has been passed on and on and on. And then now today, these new kids, let me tell you, these kids nowadays, they got a new version of the gingerbread man. And it's called Tough Cookie.
Tough Cookie.
Once upon a time, Fox decided to take a visit to Christmas time in the land of holiday treats. Just as he was making his way toward the town bakery, the door flung open and out popped a nice, fresh, warm cookie straight from the oven. And he said, "I want sweet cookie." Fox said, "You do look sweet." And Cookie said, "I'm sweet and I'm fast too. Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the sugar cookie man." He took off running. Now Fox, he couldn't resist the challenge, so he ran behind Cookie. And Cookie looked back and laughed. "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the sugar cookie man." And with that, Fox snatched him up, threw him in his mouth. Oh! Oh, oh, No, you don't.
What do you mean? I'm a cookie. I'm sweet.
No, you are not sweet. I don't know what you are.
Well, if I'm not sweet and I'm not fast, I'm just a slowpoke that tastes terrible.
And Cookie started to cry. Fox said, there now, Cookie. Let's see, maybe you just need some sweetening up. So after Fox went by the dentist's office to get his tooth fixed, he took Cookie to the Christmastown spa. And there, the elves, they soaked him in a warm bath of eggnog with lots of cinnamon. And after he soaked for a while in the tub with eggnog, then they took him out and they sprinkled him with sugar. And then after that, the elves sang to him all these sugary, sweet Christmas songs. They said, all I want for Christmas is lollipops and gumdrops. All I want for Christmas is lollipops and gumdrops. And after that, Fox just knew he'd be delicious by this point. So Fox took a lick. Oh, Black, you still taste awful. Cookie said, well, I don't know what's wrong. Fox said, why don't we work on your running skills? Since you are a slowpoke, you know, I caught you pretty easily. But, you know, I'm pretty fast myself. But let's work on your running skills. So he entered Cookie into the Christmastown race. And they got there just in the nick of time. Cookie got on the starting line, and boom, the gun went off. He took off running. Running as fast as he could. Fox cheered him on. He said, run, Cookie, run as fast as you can. And Cookie ran, and all the other runners started passing him up. They just started passing him up. He was running, using his little legs as fast as he could go, but all the other runners just kept passing him up. And Cookie, you know, because of his little stubby legs and his lack of running experience, he came in dead last. He was sad. He was depressed. He didn't know what to do. And he started to cry again. I don't know what I'm here for. I'm not good at anything. And I don't even taste like a cookie's supposed to taste. And just then, as Fox was trying to console him, they heard voices. And they were like, there he is. We've been looking for him. Is that Cookie? And then there was a crowd of ornaments that came up and they said, there you are. Cookie, we've been looking for you all day. You've been looking for me? Yeah, we've been looking for you all day. You ran out of the bakery before we could tell you what the plan was. There's a plan? A plan for me? Yeah. You don't know who you are, do you? Well, I know I don't taste good and I know I'm a slowpoke. No, Cookie, you don't know who you are. Did you ever notice you had a hole here in your forehead and a little red ribbon here? You're not a cookie. No. You are a Christmas tree ornament. You see, you were baked with flour and salt and glue so that you could stand up to the test of time. Every year for Christmas, you're supposed to be hanging on the town center's Christmas tree. You're a Christmas ornament, silly. We all are. We were looking for you. We're headed downtown for the tree lighting. So Cookie joined his new friends, and they placed him high on the town center Christmas tree. And there he hung for everybody in town to see. They all looked up and smiled. The children laughed and pointed as they saw Cookie and the other ornaments on the sparkling Christmas tree. And he finally knew his purpose. He finally knew what he was made of. And that story reminds me of myself, because I've always loved to entertain people. But I didn't know I was a storyteller until I met you all. I thank you all for inviting me to join your crew, right, to join theirs, and to be a part of this great organization where I get to live out my life's purpose. I thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm wonderful.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I always fantastic. So, you said that I saw that you been a storyteller for over 17 years. What is your favorite part about being a storyteller?
It's fun. I get to have so much fun. I get to work with preschoolers all the way up to senior citizens and telling them stories, making them laugh, making them think, sometimes making people just smile. It's a great gig. It's a great opportunity to be a storyteller. I love it. I just have a ball.
So, outside of Tough Cookie, what would be your favorite holiday story to tell?
Oh, wow. Oh, my favorite one, I told last Christmas, I think, for the For Friday show. It's called Anansi and Sorrel. I don't know if you know about the Jamaican drink made with hibiscus flower and ginger. And so it's called Sorrel. And, Anansi, he always wants to take credit for everything. So in that story, he's taking credit for why Sorrel is the Christmas drink, of Jamaica. So all Jamaicans at Christmas holiday time, you're going to find probably ginger beer and sorrel in everybody's cup. And so Anansi has a story about how he created this drink.
So that's for anybody else who wants to hear the story. Shonda was on last December's 4th Friday Story Hour, and that is available on our YouTube page, www.com/Detroit Storytellers, or youtube.com/Detroit Storytellers. Or if you just search up on YouTube, Detroit Association of Black Storytellers, and you can see all of the 4th Friday episodes on our YouTube page. Is there anything else you would like to plug, share your social media, anything, anywhere anybody can find you?
Yes, my son and I, we have a new book coming out. We write new adventures for Anansi, the spider. And so we have a new book coming out at the end of January. It's called Anansi and Groundhog. Why the groundhog is afraid of his shadow. And so we'll be out promoting that. If anybody wants us to come to their school, let us know. We're excited about sharing that story with other young people and just encouraging them to begin to write and create and tell their own stories as well.
How can we find you that? If we do want you to come out, we can get in contact with you.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook under Shani Womack, on Instagram, Shani the Storyteller. You can go to ShaniWomack.com.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Do you want some good soul food, but don't know who to try? Then stop by Urban Soul Food, run by Southern Fries. For down-home cooking, go to downtown Detroit. There you'll find Urban Soul Restaurant at 1535 East Lafayette Street. Now to dine in and or to carry out, call 313-344-9070. Once more, for all food order needs in or out the door, 313-344-9070.
Everybody, we're going to close out our program now. I'm so thankful for everybody for tuning in to watch, everybody who came out to support us today for our luncheon. Have all of our tellers here today, Mama Johnson Gray, Shani Womack, and Impressively Mo. We're all so grateful and thankful that you are tuning in every month to watch us. And next month we're going to be having a very special 4th Friday Story Hour that's spoken word centered, and the theme is Let's Go. We've been told that we just have to wait and see what it's about. So excited. Thank you again to Urban Soul for sponsoring this episode of the 4th Friday Story Hour. Thank you for letting us use your space to record today. We're so thankful for that. And if you would like to see us or catch up with Dabs, you can catch us at www.detroitstorytellers.com, or you can, if you are not in the Detroit area, you can contact www.nabsinc.org. I believe that's correct. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. If you are not in the Detroit area and are interested in doing storytelling or being a part of a storytelling group, and they can connect you with an association in the city near you. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you all next month for the new year.
Yeah!